Weaste Cemetery opened in 1857. Joseph Brotherton was the first person to be interred in the cemetery. There is now over 330,000 people interred here in 39 acres of land. When it opened, Weaste Cemetery was favoured by the most well-heeled Salfordians who chose to be buried in the rich men's plots. If you look around, you can see some stunning examples of the Victorian Gothic architecture related to death. They really are marvellous. But also, the ordinary people could be buried here beforehand, because this was the first municipal cemetery to be opened in Salford. Prior to that, you got buried in public churches, in churchyards, or sadly, there was common graves for many people. The cemetery is a wonderful place because it's virtually a history of Salford. You've got MPs, politicians, officers, same people, sportsmen, heroes, villains, soldiers, people of every class, description. It's a marvellous example of how the Victorians' attitude to death, I think. They looked upon it as completely different to how our concept of, or my concept of it is. And I would urge anyone to come in and have a look around. I think it's the most tranquil place to come to. This grave is the grave of Joseph Brotherton, the first MP for Salford. He was the MP for Salford for 24 years for the Liberal Party. Brotherton was a reformer who opposed slavery and championed causes like vegetarianism and pacifism. His father was a factory owner, but Brotherton went into politics. He died of a heart attack in 1857, and the grave, it's a magnificent example of Victorian architecture. It's a listed building. It was paid for by public subscription by the people of Salford who held Brotherton in such high esteem. So it's a Grade 2 listed statue, and please look at it. It's a marvellous example of the Gothic Victorian architectural style and a fitting monument to who was by all accounts a decent chap. This is the grave of Mark Eddy, who is better known as the Salford hero. He was famous in his own time for rescuing over 50 people from drowning in the River Irwell. Strangely enough, he didn't learn to swim himself till the age of 13. Now, he was held in such high esteem in Salford for these life-saving abilities, shall we say. He received many medals for his bravery, including the Gold Medal of the Salford Humane Society. And Queen Victoria actually presented him with the Albert Medal First Class. And in 1878 he was presented with 200 guineas by the townspeople of Salford at a ceremony at the Town Hall. Also a portrait was commissioned of him, which now hangs in Salford Art Gallery. However, in 1890 he was diagnosed with consumption, and he obviously died from this. He actually died in a pub called the Old Boathouse in Everard Street, Salford, Hodsall. And now, on the other side of the coin, I did hear a story, I think it's more flippant than truthful, that of all these people's lives that Addy did save, there was a story that sometimes you couldn't go in the Irwell for a swim, not that you'd want to, but if you did go in, you'd automatically leap in and drag you out and claim it as another victory. You'd save someone else's life. True or not, I don't know. I don't think so. Again, as I say, these magnificent statue, and again erected by public subscription. That's how high he was held in people's esteems. This is the grave of William Norman, the only VC who was actually buried in Weaste Cemetery. He won the VC in the Crimean War. He actually came from Warrington, and he joined the 4th Lancashire Militia and volunteered to serve in the Fusiliers the following year. It was during the siege of Sebastopol in December 1854 that William Norman won his Victoria Cross. It was presented to him by Queen Victoria. Apparently he was in charge of an outpost when the Russians advanced upon it. He single-handedly killed 3 Russian soldiers and took 2 prisoners without alarming the other Russians, took them back behind his own lines. Now, he died in 1896 in Salford and was sadly buried in a common grave in Weaste, and it's only through the help of volunteers over the past few years that the monument has been erected to William Norman. His medals are now in the Royal Fusiliers Museum. It's a nice fitting testament to the chap. It's just sad that he's died in a pauper's grave virtually, though, isn't it?